comparative and absolute advantages, and I'll be explaining two examples that have appeared in our course review questions sheet. And if you stay until the end, I will give you a trick that will help you solve all your comparative advantage questions in less than 10 seconds. Now let's start off by explaining what comparative advantage is. Comparative advantage is when someone produces at a lower opportunity cost than someone else. What does that mean? That means I'm producing pens. I produce my pens at a lower opportunity cost than country B. Who has the comparative advantage? I do, because I'm producing it at a lower opportunity cost. So I will produce it in the end and I will trade it to country B in return of another good. Now let's move on to absolute advantage. Absolute advantage is the ability of someone to produce a larger quantity than competitors using the same amount of resources. Please keep that in mind. It's the same amount of resources, not more, not less, exactly the same. So I'm producing pens and country B is producing pens. We both have the same resources, we both have the same amount, we both have same everything. However, I'm producing 20 pens and they're producing 15 pens. Who has the absolute advantage? I do, of course, because I'm producing 20 and they're producing 15. So I'm producing way more than them. Now these are the definitions of comparative advantage and absolute advantage. Let's move on and solve a question that has appeared in our course review sheet and just see, how do I solve an absolute advantage and a comparative advantage question? In the table in front of us, it is showing scooters as products and countries A and B. Absolute advantage is the advantage in a country that produces more of the product. So for country A and B, who has the absolute advantage in scooters? Country A, because 20 is more than 10. Who has the absolute advantage in bicycles? Country A again, because 50 is more than 20. Now let's move on to comparative advantage. What is the comparative advantage in this table? The comparative advantage is when I'm producing at a lower opportunity cost than another country. Now let's keep scooters as our base. What's A's opportunity cost in producing one scooter? How do I solve this? So I keep in mind that I'm looking at A, and I keep in mind that I'm having scooter as my base country. So let's go back to the table. I'm looking at country A. I go to scooter and I go to bicycle. When I'm putting one scooter, you always have to put bicycle over scooter. However, if I was putting one bicycle, I have to put scooter over bicycle. So whatever is here, the opposite of it is the numerator, and the denominator is the same one of it. So since I'm putting one scooter, I'm going to put 50 bicycles over 20 scooters. Let's go back to the table. It's 50 bicycles in country A and 20 scooters in country A. And that will give me 2.5 bicycles. So for every one scooter I'm producing, I have an opportunity cost of 2.5 bicycles. Now let's move on to seeing what is country B's opportunity cost. If I use scooters in country A, I have to use scooters in country B. So let's go back to the table and find the numbers I can substitute it in. So I need to put bicycle over scooter. So I will put 20 bicycles over 10 scooters, because both of them are in country B. And I will get 2 bicycles. So after I get these two numbers, I want to see which one is the lower number, because the lower opportunity cost is the comparative advantage. So is 2.5 lower than 2, or is 2 lower than 2.5? Of course it's 2. So country B has a comparative advantage in scooters. And I wrote a conclusion for you here. The conclusion is that B produces scooters at a less opportunity cost than A, which means it has a comparative advantage in scooters, and A has a comparative advantage in bicycles. There can be only one country that has a comparative advantage in one good. There can't be a country that has a comparative advantage in two goods. That is impossible. Now let's move on to my trick. I like to call it the quick and dirty because it's quick and it's kind of dirty because it helps you in a sneaky way. Now you might say, what is she drawing here? Why is she drawing circles and ovals? Trust me, it is a great help. Why does this look familiar? Because it is cross multiplication. So let's draw a circle like this, and let's draw a circle like this. Now you will know why I'm drawing circles like that. And then let's multiply them without asking why, without asking how. Just multiply 20 by 20, 50 by 10. Just keep them here and circle your answers. Now tell me, which one is greater, 500 or 400? Of course, it's 500. So what is my conclusion by knowing which one is greater? I know that the greater one is the countries and goods that have comparative advantage within each other. So since 50 and 10 were the comparative advantages, that means the 10 and the 50 are the comparative advantages. That means B, comparative advantage scooter, A, comparative advantage bicycle. Let's go back to the table. B, comparative advantage scooter, A, comparative advantage bicycle. So again, quickly, I want to summarize it. You draw two ovals like this, cross multiplication. You cross multiply them, the greater one's the comparative advantage. You trace it and you find which country is for which good. Easy, quick, it always works, never failed me. I've always gotten hundreds while I used it, and if you need more help in it, you can come and talk to me and I'll help you more in the quick and dirty. But if it's in written, please do not use it. You will get 0 in it if you use it in written, because this is not smart, okay? This is only if it was multiple choice and you were running out of time. Please. In written, you need to show all the steps, every single step, every single point, every single 0 you put. Now let's move on to the course review question, and I'm doing question number 8. Why did I pick this question, you may ask? Because many people miss the idea that this is the number of hours. This is not the quantity. This is not the amount of goods I'm producing. This is the cost of production. This is my cost. This is how much time I'm spending. So let's see. Here I wrote a little note. Please keep this in mind. Hours means we need to find the greater in comparative advantage and the less in absolute advantage. Let's try the quick and dirty in this question. Maybe it'll help us. And I'll show you how it works on every single question. You just have to read the question and be smart. Let's do the absolute advantages first, because they're the easy ones. Japan has an absolute advantage in producing scarves. Let's go and check. Does it? Japan, scarves. Let's see. Scarves. 4 hours for Japan. However, there's 6 hours for China. If this was a goods question, I want to pick the greater one. But no, this is an hours question. This is a cost of production question. I must pick the lower one, the less one. Okay, so it's 4 hours. So it is true. Absolute advantage for Japan is scarves. So this is true. Now let's go to the second one. China has an absolute advantage in producing hats. Let's see. China, hats. 2 hours and 2 hours. Oops, they're equal. So none of them have an absolute advantage. So this is wrong. Now let's go to the third one. Comparative advantages. And I don't have a lot of time in the exam left. Let's try the quick and dirty. Here, I already circled them for you guys. Let's see. 2 times 2 times 4 and 2 times 6. What does this one give me? And what does this one give me? This one gives me 8. And this one gives me 12. If this was a goods question, I would have picked the greater one. However, again, keep in mind, this is a cost of production question. So I want to pick the less one. So I will pick 8. That means the comparative advantage is China for hats, and the comparative advantage for Japan is scarves. Let's see. China has a comparative advantage in hats. That is true. Japan has a comparative advantage in scarves. That is also true. My quick and dirty worked, and it should always work. However, again, please, in the written part, do not use this trick. I will exclamation pointed, bolded. Please, please, please do not use this trick. Use what I explained at the beginning. But if it's multiple choice and you want to do it fast and you want to get rid of those very, very annoying questions, do the quick and dirty, you get the answer fast, and you move on to the other questions that require more thinking and a lot more time. Thank you for listening, and I hope you understood. And if you have any more questions, please leave a comment or come text me privately. Thank you.